Okay, well here we are with Dampfross, and we're winding down towards the end. I'm hoping this is the last video, but it probably won't be. Rolled up another set. It's going to be Tampa up to Memphis. Now, Tampa to Memphis, red has a direct line, and they're going to play this all by themselves. They're in this one. But black also can make it most of the way to here. Now, their question is, do they want to pay red 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just race red? Their track's not much worse than red's. Or, and if they pay 7, they've got a shot, but they're slightly disadvantaged. So chances are they'll pull $3 positive. Red will get 27. Or they could cut a deal with yellow and run this kind of crappier track, or with brown and run this kind of better track. And I think they're looking at that. I think what they're going to do is they're going to pay red 1 and they're going to split it with brown. They've got a real shot at winning that way. And it's a somewhat better, lower cost. Although, if they win, their payoff isn't as much. I think they have the better chance. So we're going to do that. Brown and black are going to race against red on this. And we'll start things off, as always, with a quick roll of the dice. Let's do black first, I guess. 3, and they jump forward, and then red with 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I've got to pay red $1, and whoever's richer of black and brown actually did that. That's going to be black's going to pay red $1, and I'll come back as the race progresses. Here we are. Red has pretty much a guaranteed win. Just roll their die. They only got 1 this time. Black. And red will win with 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4 out here. And black can't win. They only got 1 space. So red's going to get $20, and black and brown each get 5. I think it was a better solution, though, than paying so much money to red for a bigger share. Certainly black got more. They got $4 here instead of the 3 they would have gotten, and they gave the extra money to brown for the most part, which is kind of cool. Next one's Chicago to Pittsburgh, and here yellow and red are really the game players, but red doesn't make it into Pittsburgh, so he's got to think about or work with whoever he can. He could shoot with blue or with brown. They're about equivalent. He's going to offer it to brown. Brown will take it. So we've got red and yellow starting this race up. Yellow's got almost his own track all the way, but he's going to pay 1, 2, 3, $4 to brown, which is kind of cool, because brown's going to collect some decent money here. Brown hasn't been able to score off of most of his holdings recently, or throughout the game, so this is kind of cool for him. Let's start off with red. Red gets a big 1, and then yellow gets a 3. And yes, the race is just this die rolling contest as you go, and so I'm going to pause out and come back when it gets more interesting. More interesting, of course, being kind of subjective. Here we are at the midway point, I'd say. Let's see what yellow gets. They're clearly in the lead here. The 3. They've got to go up here, and red cuts down here. And it looks like it's pretty close to over. But yellow does not get far. And, you know, there's still a chance, so we keep rolling. And red's past, or yellow's past it by 1. So yellow is going to get $20. Red and brown, well, they each get 5. There it has it. Brown's kind of a big winner. Not so much as big as yellow, but they do get the bonus of the extra $3. So they get $8. Yellow only gets 17 total. Whatever. Now we go to a build phase. I doubt that anybody's going to build, but I'll take a quick look to make sure. Just because, you know, at this point, so much of the track is laid down that there's no real point to it. So the race that came up was Mobile to Nashville. Now red runs straight up there. They're playing. They're in for this and like the idea. The other close guys are green, who gets into Mobile, and yellow, who makes the track up to Nashville. They're the people who could take a shot at this, but neither of them make the full connection. Now, they do have a connection here, and you could say, well, they maybe want to partner up. Except for one thing, green's willing to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, $5 to yellow for the sole right to take this chance. And yellow's not going to jump in and pay 10 or whatever to green. So we're going to see that green is going to give up $5 and give it to yellow. Yellow's right now in the lead, and they don't want to toss that away. They're at $97, red's at 89. Blue has been kind of stagnant. They don't have a lot left. They have New York City. That's their big score, and it's going to come on their next one. And the next one's going to go New York City, Memphis. That's going to have to kind of include blue to some extent. Question is, will that be a game decider? So what we see here is red and green. Yellow is holding on to their position and saying, you know, I don't think I'm going to be involved in this last one, but I think I got a shot at winning if I don't spend money and lose money. We'll see what happens. All right, let's start this one off. And we'll start with red, who has what looks like slightly longer route. And green, nice roll, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And, well, what the hell, we're close to the end. Red and green. That's 2. Red, 2, 3, 4. And green, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're committed to going up this yellow route. And it's really neck and neck at this point. Red, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're one beyond. And green only rolls a 2, so they don't make it. Which means red gets the $20 bonus, green only gets 10, the $5 they've spent to yellow. Well, at least they get half of, at least they get that back and an equivalent amount. So they didn't lose any ground on anyone there except to red. All right, let's go to the last race, but let me take a pause to write down the numbers here. Well, the last race is Memphis to New York. It was going to be one way or the other, in one direction or the other. New York is blue land, and blue is definitely going to play. They cut a quick deal with brown and said, yeah, we got a pretty nice route here. Brown's not going to win. I guess what they're hoping is to make sure they beat green at this point. I mean, there's nothing they can really do. Or could they have said, oh no, I'm not making a deal with anybody. I'm not making a deal with anybody. Okay, well then they just hurt blue and say to blue, hey, you know that track that you bought early on? Well, the hell with you. Now, brown and blue have no real reason to be in disagreement. He's going to let them run this. But at best, that's going to bring $10 to blue, which is 89. So red wants no one to cut any deals and isn't terribly interested in any other combination here. They get in here. Who could they cut a deal with? Well, they could cut a deal with black and try to run up here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, that's too far. They could cut a deal with green, which isn't too bad. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. $8. So, you know, at best they'd each gain 6 in exchange for giving blue 8. So how does green and red feel about this? Green's willing to do it for the same sake that brown is. Yeah, we'll spend the money to try to advance the cause if no one else was willing to. What about yellow? Yellow can get me pretty close, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, not close enough to New York. So really it's the green-red thing. You know, there's no real reason to build this run, as far as I'm concerned. But green and red are going to each pay $4. Ooh, red's at 109. Maybe they don't want to play. If they ignore this, blue goes up to 99. Yeah, red doesn't want to play this, right? Well, it doesn't hurt them. So yellow wants to play in this, but they're not allowed. They make it here, and they make it to green, but so if they bailed out, maybe green would work with them. So red will work with green here, and they each take $4 off their total. So that brings them to 105. I would say this is a guaranteed red victory, but I'm going to run this race because who knows. So right now we have the red and green coalition trying to beat out the blue coalition. I don't think it can make a bit of difference. Red's going to get $5 for this. Yellow can't play without either green or blue. Can they play with black? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. So only green and blue can get me close enough there. And those coalitions are set. Alright, well, let's get started with the racing. And blue is working with brown. I'll roll them first. I know what their route is. They're up 2, and green is working with red. And they're off to a slow start. Well, with that slow start, I'm going to take a pause and wait until things get closer. Well, we're at an interesting little snapshot here. Brown and blue combination have made it up here. They've got to make this switch either at Charleston or Pittsburgh to head around. Green has actually made it over these mountains, and they're heading up straight on their line. They've paid for this already, hopefully. I don't think I paid that $8. I took it off of them, but I don't think I paid it to these. So they're up to 87. Alright. Which could actually bring them very close to red's conditions here. But we'll just continue going. It looks like it's a fairly close race at this point, actually. Well, maybe not that close. Green has definitely gotten the jump here, and they're pushing forward quite well. We'll finish this up. Blue. Green. Using the blue track they paid to use. Alright, so that, green-red combination gets $10 each, the blue-brown gets $5 each. Oh, it wouldn't have been 20 anyway. So we're at 92, 22, 115, and 24. Green wasn't able to beat brown anyway, even by beating him. But, you know, you don't want to count everything in this game. Red gets a win at 117. Blue and, well, yellow at 97, blue at 92. And we really do see, you know, there's a lot of luck in this. There's also a dominance position, though. Red looked like they were going to win early on. Then at some point, it looked like maybe they wouldn't. It looked very likely that they wouldn't. It looked like they had lost that edge. They had fallen behind. But still, a lot of areas that they had no longer control of, but connection to, and good early connections that they drilled down in there with nice straight track, were still there. So they could win a lot of races in combination or whatever. So they were able to pick up a lot of ground there again. Yellow, well, again, their area back here in the Midwestern areas showed the same kind of scoring capabilities that the red did. Even though these weren't touched for a long time and it let other people come up and play and have a chance at getting them, which is more than you can say about, say, blue, who came off to an early lead and grabbed a lot of these early. A lot of those got involved in races early. On the other hand, once you extend your track a little bit, it's quite possible that you can go these alone. You don't have to cut deals. You don't have to pay anyone much. So some of those early track lays that are more efficient to areas that get contested later on, well, you're going to be contesting somewhere else. So we've seen with red, they were able to push their way up into here and maybe score some points that way. And that got them, I think, into a better shape. Probably the blue decision to move down into the Nashville, Knoxville instead of up here really hurt them. There was a lot more points up in the Midwest than there was there. They could have used their advantage quicker. What about yellow? Could they have done better? I don't know. There was always the breakthrough into the Northeast, but the Northeast got so used so early that didn't seem tempting. And then once they got down into here, or they were close in here, they never really had the option to break into some heavy points. And it's not like they weren't gathering points by pushing down south into the Nashville area. So a couple people clearly got wiped out. You know, black and brown and green were so hosed early on. It's kind of surprising. Brown came up from nowhere to what, you know, 5th place, right? Black, they had this kind of solid position down here that they eventually established, but they were never really able to dominate an area. And that, I think that's kind of key to this game. If you don't get control of a decent sized area and get to score some points off of it, you're not going to be able to extend your route well. Anyway, we'll come back to the actual review. I'm certainly not going to do every scenario of this on video.